everyone, welcome back to Fables. The Lion in Love. A lion fell deeply in love with the daughter of a cottager and wanted to marry her, but her father was unwilling to give her to such a fearsome husband, and yet didn't want to offend the lion. So he hit upon the following expedient. He went to the lion and said, "I think you will make a very good husband for my daughter, but I cannot consent to your union unless you let me draw your teeth and pare your nails, for my daughter is terribly afraid of them." The lion was so much in love that he readily agreed, and this should be done. When once, however, he was thus disarmed, the cottager was afraid of him no longer, and drove him away with his club. Well, yep. Generally what happens. The Beekeeper. A thief found his way into an apiary when the beekeeper was away, and he stole all the honey. When the keeper returned and found the hives empty, he was very upset. He stood staring at them for some time. Before long, the bees came back from gathering honey, and finding their hives overturned, and the keeper standing by, they made for him with their stings. At this, he fell into a passion and cried, "You ungrateful scoundrels! You let the thief who stole my honey get off scot-free, and then you go and sting me, who've always taken care of you." The lesson in that is, when you hit back, make sure you've got the right man. The Wolf and the Horse. A wolf, on his rambles, came to a field of oats, but, not being able to eat them, he was passing on his way when a horse came along. "Look," said the wolf, "here's a fine field of oats for you, and just for your sake I've left it untouched, and I shall greatly enjoy the sound of your teeth munching the ripe grain." But the horse replied, "If wolves could eat oats, my fine friend, you would hardly have indulged your ears at the cost of your belly." What that means is they can't actually eat oats, and the horse is saying the wolf takes opportunity in what it can eat and wouldn't stand and listen to an horse. It's making the point that the oats are untouched because he knows the wolf can't eat the oats, but it can eat him. That's the point he's trying to make. There is no virtue in giving to others what is useless to oneself. The Bat, the Bramble, and the Seagull. A bat, a bramble, and a seagull went into partnership and determined to go on a trading voyage together. The bat borrowed a sum of money from his venture. The bramble laid in a stock of clothes of various kinds, and the seagull took a quantity of lead, and so they set out. By and by a great storm came on, and their boat, with all the cargo, went to the bottom, but the three travellers managed to reach land. Ever since then, the seagull flies to and fro over the sea, and every now and then dives below the surface, looking for the lead he lost, while the bat is so afraid of meeting his creditors that he hides away by day and only comes out at night to feed. And the bramble catches hold of the clothes of everyone who passes by, hoping someday to recognise and recover the lost garments he lost so long ago. All men are more concerned to recover what they lose than to acquire what they lack. The Dog and the Wolf. A dog was lying in the sun before a farmyard gate when a wolf pounced upon him and was just going to eat him up, but he begged for his little life and said, "You see how thin I am. What a wretched meal! what a wretched meal I would make you now. But if you will only a few days just wait, my master's going to give me a feast. All the rich scraps and pickings will fall to me, and I shall get nice and fat. Then you will be able to eat me in good time." The wolf thought this was a very good plan and went away. Some time afterwards, he came back to the farmyard again, found the dog lying, and he was out of reach on the stable roof. "Come down," he called, "and be eaten. You remember our agreement." But the dog said coolly, "My friend, well, if ever you catch me lying down by the gate there again, don't you wait for any feast. Once bitten and twice shy." That's where that saying actually comes from that old fable about learning a lesson and moving on, I suppose. The Wasp and the Snake. A wasp settled on the head of a snake, and not only stung him several times, but clung on so well to the head of his victim. Maddened he was, maddened with pain, the snake tried every means he could to get rid of it, the wretched creature, but without success. At last he became desperate, and crying, "Kill you I will, even at the cost of my own life," he laid his head with the wasp on under the wheel of a passing wagon, and they both perished together, squashed by the wagon. The snake actually gave up his life just to get rid of the wasp. The Eagle and the Beetle. An eagle was chasing a hare, which was running for dear life, and was at its wits. Where to turn he did not know, for he could not find any help. Presently she espied a beetle, and tapped it to aid her. So when the eagle came up, the beetle warned her not to touch the hare, which was under its protection. But the eagle never noticed the beetle, because it was so small. So the eagle seized the hare and ate her up. The beetle never forgot this, and used to keep an eye out on the eagle's nest. Whenever the eagle laid an egg, it climbed up and rolled it out of the nest and broke it. At last the eagle got so worried over the loss of her eggs that she went up to Jupiter, who, in the special protection of eagles, begged and begged him to give her a safe place to nest so that her eggs may hatch. He let her lay her eggs in his lap, but the beetle noticed this and made a ball of dirt the size of an eagle's egg, and flew up and deposited it in Jupiter's lap. When Jupiter saw the dirt, he stood up to shake it out of his robe, and forgetting about the eggs, he shook them out too, and they were broken, just as before. Ever since then, they say, eagles never lay their eggs at the season when beetles are about. Interesting. The weak will sometimes find ways to avenge an insult, even upon the very strong. The Fowler and the Lark. A fowler was setting his nets, and it is a fowler, though I've never really heard of that word, for little birds, when a lark came up to him and asked him what he was doing. "I am engaged here, my friend, in founding a city." "Interesting," said he, and with that he withdrew to a short distance and concealed himself The lark examined the nets with great curiosity, and presently, catching sight of the bait, hopped to them in order to secure it, and became entangled in the meshes. The fowler then ran up quickly and captured her. "What a fool I was," she said. "But at any rate, if that's the kind of city you are founding, it'll be a long time before you find fools enough to fill it." I don't know, the bird was fool enough to fill it, so he could possibly find more fools, I'm sure. The next one's called The Fisherman Piping. A fisherman who could play the flute was down one day on the seashore with his nets and his flute, and taking his stand on the projecting rock, began to play a tune, thinking that the music would bring the fish jumping out of the sea. He went on playing for some time, but not a fish appeared. So at last he threw down his flute and cast his net into the sea, and made a great haul of fish. When they were landed, and he saw them leaping about on the shore, he cried, "You rascals, you wouldn't dance when I piped, but now I've stopped, you can do nothing else but dance." They were drowning because they were in air. They weren't dancing. The Weasel and the Man. A man once caught a weasel, which was always sneaking about the house, and was just going to drown it in the tub of water, when it begged hard for its life, and said to him, "Surely you haven't the heart to put me to death. Think how useful I have been in clearing your house of the mice, the lizards, which used to infest it, and show your gratitude by aspiring to take my life. You have not been altogether useless, I grant you," said the man. "But who killed the fowls? Who stole the meat? No, 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 no. You do much more harm than good, and die you shall." Wow. Although, I suppose, yes, killing his animals is not a good thing. A ploughman, the ass, and the ox. A ploughman yoked his ox and his ass together, and set to work to plough the field. It was a poor makeshift of a team, but it was the best that he could do, as he had but a single ox. At the end of the day, when the beast were loosened from the yoke, the ass said to the ox, "Well, we've had a hard day. Which of us is it to carry the master home?" The ox looked surprised at the question. "Why," said he, "you, to be sure, as usual." So I guess it was a regular occurrence. Nice. I'm going to leave this part here, guys, and we shall continue in the next part of Fables. Many blessings.